Hi and welcome to one of this. No. Hi and welcome to the little walkthrough. I'm going to give you one of my clients and how she managed to eat out multiple times in 1 week and still stay on track with her goals. She managed to lose weight. She's still moving in terms of inches, and she's able to have a social life, which so many of you I know do not have the opportunity to have. So I'm going to show her actual My Fitness Apparel Diary and kind of talking around some of the things we worked on during this week's check-in to show you how one I do things around here because I'm not about you need to count every single calorie forever. We need a calorie count for now to gain awareness of what her behaviors are like when she's eating out, before, during, and when she's out, but also the processes and thinking in getting to that day. So I'm going to share you with her diary to start with, okay? So I'll just do that here now. So screen share. So you should be able to see my client's diary. So we're going to start on the Wednesday. So I have a really simple rule that I like to do with all my clients, right? Because there's two types of nights out or two types of social events there are. There are the ones that you're buzzing for, that you have to do it, whether it's a concert, whether it's dinner out with your mate, something like that, but it's something you desperately want to do. Or it's more of a, meh, I could take it or leave it. Do you know those family dinners you're like, oh, going out, I don't really fucking fancy tonight, but that's it. That is the first thing you need to think about before you even have breakfast that day, before you go out that day, for anything. Because if you can't really be asked of it, I would encourage you to make the air quotes better choice on the day out. Obviously, you can't control how things are cooked when you're eating out, but you can still think about this beforehand. So yeah, if you're not really fussed about going out and you can take it or leave it, make a better choice. Maybe skip the starter and dessert. Maybe just have the main. Maybe go for steak and some side salad and some potatoes on the side. Maybe don't go too wild with all the heavy creamy dishes. But if this is in this scenario, it's more of a I want to go out and buzz and go out sort of idea. This is what we're going to do. So the first bit you need to look at is actually what you do before. And this hit bit here around my client's breakfast, right? This is something we've worked on for a while. Really, really simple, okay? So most people might look at this and be like, "Oh, it's 0% Greek style yogurt. It's not as high in protein as it should be." No, it's not. But if she got the super, super Greek yogurt that everyone goes on about, she doesn't fucking like it. So that's not going to work. So we do this. What she does like, though, is firing a bit of protein in there. She loves having low whey protein in there. She talks about adding a bit of honey as well, adds a bit of sweetness, and then she adds some fruits spacey to make it really kind of add a little bit of extra, add some extra nutrients into it. The only thing I'd say is actually missing here is a teeny bit of fat. I'd argue maybe some chia seeds or something similar would be really, really good here. But as a whole, 300 calories, 40 grams of protein, okay? Whenever we're doing any sort of meal, we want 10% of the calories to be protein. So in this case, 10% of 300 is 30. You want 30 grams of protein. Here is exceeding that. So this is a really positive setup for if you're eating out, okay? Shit, to put into perspective as well, I forgot to put this in there. This client is of mine. She's a good friend of mine, to be fair, but she's a super busy corporate lady. So over the weekend, she was with her partner who lives away from where she is, and they were busy going out with kids and stuff like that. So that's obviously one thing. Then she had to travel from where she was, 30 to 50 mile, to then go to a conference, which she stayed at for 2 days, to come home to one family with her. You see where I'm going with this. So she's a busy corporate woman. Her has family. She has a partner. There's a kid in her life involved as well. She has all these different things to be working with, which make it really, really difficult to actually progress all the time. So for her, it's like I want to stay social. I've got a busy work schedule, and this is one of the things that comes into it. Her lunches are cooked for her, so she has a kind of like a cafe style one, so she gets to choose kind of the options. And this is far better than it used to be. Okay, so often we talked about the different types of proteins and like kind of high quality and low quality ones. Obviously, ones that are dripped in sauce, like if we were going IKEA and dripped in gravy, not too bad. But again, the gravy can be high in fat. So if these are just normal meatballs, fantastic. Chicken thighs, chicken breast over like chicken drumsticks and chicken fried chicken, leaner types of meat, like going for more beef mince if possible. That's the angle. And then like building her plate a little bit differently. So what we've gone with her here is kind of showing her how to use. We've gone focus on the protein, focus on the color add onto your plate. So obviously she likes to go for her side salads a lot and adds that as a main part of her plate. She takes up a good half of her plate with that. Then add in the carbohydrates and sauce at the end if you want to. Okay, so I'm going to come back to this in a second. So she has some pasta, bit of sauce, and a fruit salad. Not too bad. 25 grams of protein. She could be higher, but again, given that she doesn't have much control over this, that's different. You could argue she should bring a snack with her, but again, I'd rather pick better from here, not be worrying too much about the kind of the nitty-gritty outside of that, and then go from there. And then dinner, this is where a little bit of simple part here. So burger, two patties. She skipped the bun. She went for fries instead. Had a pint of beer and some sauce. So her target on my client list is 1,600 calories per her. Okay, that's where we've kind of established their target at. I don't use hard set calorie targets, right? I use calorie ranges, okay? So 16 to 1800 calories is give or take where she is. 1600 will be more of a deficit. 1800 will be less of a deficit. That's one thing that most women don't understand. Most of the time, if they go over their calories at 1600, they're like, holy shit, I failed. With this client, I've told her, is like, if you need more leeway in your diet, you can just expect a slower rate of weight loss. Jesus, that was hard to say. So that's one thing we've educated her on. So don't be worrying about this. But I'm also going to show you this little tool up here in a minute, how we actually kind of hack this process even more. So I talked her through. I was like, look, in an ideal world, if we wanted this to be bang on 16 calorie targets, where is the give in this day? Considering she's eating out tomorrow, by the way, and I'm going to show you that. Okay. So really simple. I said to her, I was like, look, because you're eating out twice this week, we have to be a bit more scarce and kind of a bit tighter on things. Okay. So I said there's three simple changes I make in an instant that don't change masses. She can control here. She can add more filling stuff here. That's part of it. And she can control here as well. So this is very out of her control. I said to her, if she is really looking to save calories and wanting to, skip the pasta, skip the sauce. Go for a really low calorie hot sauce, sweet chili sauce, that sort of thing, like really lighter and light mayo, rather than a mustardy creamy sauce because it can be a little bit higher in calories. If you take those two out alone, that's 210 calories saved already. So she's already at 1600 calories just with that. And I said to her, the other one, I was like, if you want a beer, have a beer, right? Make it a half pint. You don't need a whole pint. You're not drinking it for the hydration. Like, have a half pint. You save another 100 calories. In those two decisions alone, these two bits here and the pint of beer, she has saved another 100 calories. So 300 calories in total she has saved. So that's one way I've gone around it with her. So this is how we can improve this day immediately. Get her within a calorie target just as easy as that. The next bit I would do, so we talked about this on her check-in. She ran out of food by Thursday at this point, and that wasn't really ideal. So she ran out of food by Thursday, so the breakfast wasn't ideal. However, lunch again not too far off. Again, given the fact she doesn't have massive control of it, she was nearly at that 10% rule. Like I'd give it this one here. So 550 calories for nearly 50 grams of protein. She was within that 10% rule, but again, very well built in terms of what was on her plate in terms of protein, color, and a simple carbohydrate choice. At dinner, though, she had a pizza night. And what happened here with this pizza night is really, really simple. So she said the words that she doesn't have any control of what she eats. And I was like, that's absolutely fine. Because some people be like, oh, I should eat before, I should eat after, and stuff like that. I was like, no, if you're going out and she wanted to go out, you should have what's here. She knew how much she'd roughly have, 4 or 5 slices, and this worked out as 5 slices. She went onto the Domino's website based on where she was, and this is roughly what it worked out as. So that takes up pretty much most of her day's food. She's 1,000 calories out of 1,600 calories, right? So the argument there is like, right, what could she have done better for this day? Because the protein is extremely low. Okay, there is protein in what she ate here. Don't get me wrong. It's about 9 grams per slice apparently. So give or take 5 slices, is about 40 grams of protein. So technically she hit a 100 gram thing here. But what I said to her was like, it's like if you're out of breakfast, right, rather than firing something together just for the sake of it, like you can if you need to. I was like, why don't you just stop at the shop and grab something really, really simple? There is an array of different foods these days. Like this array of like yogurt pots that are high in protein. You got bars. You can get a simple sandwich at 300 calories to 20 grams of protein. You can get way more than just this. Squeezy yogurts, all those types of things. I said, just grab something like that and a bit of fruit. Start off with that. And then if you need a little bit of extra something later, we can give you a little bit of snack later on. Add in her lunch, obviously. She's got her lunch that comes up. She's fine with that. And just enjoy the dinner. Okay. So the whole part of all of this is, like I said, this is far from perfect. This is a work in progress, and this is why I like to show you this type of person. This is someone who is living a very dynamic life, does not have a lot of time, but we're not focused on constantly tracking, by the way. She only tracks 3 to 4 days a week max. We're tracking for a short period of time for awareness to help her understand what she can do better. And she is making better choices. The breakfast is improved, the lunch is improved, the dinners are getting there. But it's making her aware that how easy it is to overeat if you do it 2 to 3 times a week, and how you can ruin all your hard work that you've done before that. And some of you just don't have that awareness, and that's okay. But you feel that because you haven't done everything perfectly, it's not worth doing at all. And that's not the case. Again, simple swaps. That's what I want you to look for. If you're going out twice a week, I would encourage you to make these swaps. Cut this out, half this. I would encourage you. If you're going out once a week, I really wouldn't worry. And this is why. Here is my weekly calorie planner. It's a free little guide to using it, and I only send it out to people on my email list. So if you're on my email list, you'll get used to this. So basically, my client's target here, as you can see here, is 1,600 calories, as depicted by these smaller bars here. Okay, hasn't updated, so let me do it again. Let's do it again. Right. Okay. So 1600 calories in these small bars. Okay. She needs an extra, because she's going next week, an extra 500 calories on Wednesday, and an extra 500 calories on Thursday. So what this shows is these are the higher days and these are the lower days. So it adjusts your calories on your Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for when you have to sacrifice another 1,000 calories across the week. So basically, it takes off roughly, I can't do the maths, 250 calories each day to make up for that gap. Okay. So if you wanted, in an ideal world, and you're tracking, you wanted to be able to eat an extra 500 calories to 2,100 calories on both those days and still lose weight, you would have to eat 1,350 calories on both of these two, based on a 1,600 calorie deficit normally. That can be achievable. It can be quite tough. So this is just a guidance. So if you want the perfect week, not many people want the perfect week. They want to enjoy themselves and leave it at that. So this is a great tool for guiding you through that process and making you aware. What if you only want an extra 250 calories? Again, it would change again. No, let me just get rid of that because nothing's perfect. So again, only 1,475 calories. So again, only a small reduction, not as much as you think. You probably will still gain weight naturally, but not because you gain body fat. And this is what this is showing you. You're not gaining body fat. You'll probably gain weight just because you've got more carbohydrates, more fat in your system, and more water held onto, not actual weight gained. Okay, it'll be short term, it'll go away in 4 or 5 days easily. But again, she uses this tool to help guide her if she wants to make lower calorie choices to help keep that perfect week on board. This week I described for you here, she was not going to have that week. It's just case in point, she was having too busy a week and she was going to enjoy herself, and that was that. But again, I'm showing you here how you don't have to be perfect to lose weight essentially. So if you want this, all you have to do is something really, really simple. Go onto my Instagram, DM me the words WCP free, number three. So WCP, I don't know if you can see this because it's mirrored, free. And Instagram me that. It should, my little bot should work. If it doesn't, I'll send it through manually. And then you'll get this for free to use. Okay. If you want your own free breakdown of 1 week's worth of eating, just DM me the word MFP, so MyFitnessPal, MFP, and I'll do a free 1 week breakdown for you, just so we can have a look and get you in the right direction. And then if you want more help than that, I've got a 6 week challenge coming up in 2 weeks' time. So make sure you're on my shortlist because you get first access to those slots, and then maybe we can work together and get you something like this. But guys, I hope you found that useful. And then on the next video, I hope I'll see you soon.